What is going on, everybody? This is Devin and Josh with Driver Motorsports. We are a premium JDM importer. We also do performance stuff as well. But this is a very special video about putting up what, Josh?
A BendPak lift. So I want to pretty much start by saying that we are not the authority on installing these lifts. As professional mechanics, again, you should always pay attention to anything that would get yourself hurt by way of, if this is outside of your realm of skill set, go ahead and hire a professional.
I agree. So stay tuned. You will learn how we did it, and maybe you want to do it that way too, but like he said, stick to the professionals.
It's not a comprehensive video, so anything we do in this one, again, follow the steps in your instructions. It comes with all the literature, the safety manuals, and all that good stuff. If you need, you can go to bendpak.com and print a more detailed colored descriptions of the installation step by step.
We will be going step by step in this video, so stay tuned. We have received this brand new BendPak lift, and we're gonna show you exactly what comes with it, how it comes packaged, and how to put it up. We're gonna go step by step in the manual to put it up.
Looking at it, I mean, this is kind of how it showed up. All these parts wrapped up all mummified like. We have not opened it, and we are gonna go through again step by step and make sure that we have everything we need, comment on any packaging or any issues that we discover, and then walk you through the install. And get started.
Yeah. This is the BendPak XPR10AS 10,000 pound two-post lift.
So we probably don't have to take this all the way out, but looking down in here, this is the hydraulic engine, the motor, the actuator, if you will. The control panel is going to be mounted on the column to raise and lower our lift.
Hydraulic reservoir.
There we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Looks pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Looks good and safe.
Looks safe.
I'm not going to take it out.
Documents enclosed.
Ooh, that's probably an important thing. We're going to need that.
I didn't even need to do that.
All right.
Guys, we were instructed to be serious, so
bear with us.
Please. What we got here? You want to tell the fine people?
All right, so quick reference guide. Basically going over all of the lift points, different types of vehicles. It actually breaks it down by manufacturer and chassis. So pretty important that we follow these instructions when we're loading up a vehicle. This is going to come later once the lift is actually operational. All right, this one, talking about the safety requirements and operation and inspection and maintenance. So I'd imagine that being that these lifts are set up to, pick up excess of 10,000 pounds in their basic testing, we want to make sure everything is good to go and not exceed any, safety standards based on this. So only trained and authorized people should position vehicles and operate a lift. Trust us.
We are trained.
We are professionals.
Look at how they package all this. This is nice.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's definitely a show the
Look at that, guys.
Show the thing. So in this box is the bolts and anchors that are going to go into the ground, all the hydraulic lines and cable, and it
seat
looks
holders.
Like the posts that are going to go onto the actual pedestals, and then the riser cups. So yeah, that's all the how to make it works. Top bar with the little safety mechanisms.
Safety switch.
In case we lift it too high, it'll shut down on us. That's pretty neat. So I guess the best thing for us to do now would be pull this stuff out. We could set it out in the arrangement that is going to be closest to our orientation for install. But really, I just wanted to get the unboxing done and see, see how nice this stuff actually is.
The XPR10AS-LP.
LP. Oh, I got the goo on me. Well, at least we know it's well greased.
Alrighty, so looking at how it's bolted down, it looks like there's some through bolts over here, holding the tops down, and then there's bolts in the feet. I feel like what we should do is get the tops off and then separate it into two packages.
Yeah. Well, these are suspended up, so if we just pulled that out, they're gonna drop. So we should probably put something underneath them. In this clip, you can see that we are lining up the feet designators where we're going to stand these posts up. The instructions tell you to use a chalk line, and that way you can mark out your square footing to have everything the way you need it. You can see we took multiple measurements and we made a tape template on the floor using a cardboard cutout of the actual base to ensure we had the proper markers. Everything you see is clearly detailed in the instructions. Just do what works best for you.
All right, guys, so page number 16 in the installation booklet, it says tools that we're gathering. So we laid out the tools that we may need on the table right here. So number 1 is a rotary hammer drill. Number 2 is 3/4 inch carbide bit. We will be grabbing that later. Hammer, 4-foot level. We've got that elsewhere. Open and wrench set, socket wrench, hex key wrench set, crescent wrench and pipe wrenches, torque wrench, crowbar,
Didn't put it out.
chalk line,
Don't need it.
medium-sized flat screwdriver, tape measure 25 feet or more, needle nose pliers, forklift or shop crane, 2 12-foot ladders, and 2 sawhorses.
So pretty much everything we have set out is going to be the direct hand tools we're going to be using. Everything else is set up to the side. We'll use those as needed. All right, so we're taking a look at our instructions. We have the posts laid down in their almost set configuration. Essentially, we would just need to stand them up. Instructions do a pretty good job of telling you don't stand them up before installing cables. So looking at this diagram, it shows you the proper routing and which cable setup to use for whether you're doing a close or wide setup. We're doing the wide setup.
The narrow setup, you'll be using this ball in, is what they call it, button in, I'm sorry. And then the wide config is this button in. We will be going wide config just in case we've got to put a larger vehicle on the lift. I'm going to verbally tell you what we did. So just unbind your equalizing cables. Go ahead, and what we did was we started from the button in. Like I said, if you're going narrow or wide configuration, you need to decide that now. We put the wide configuration button in on the flange that's on the inside of this lift arm. And you're going to want to slide it into the left side of the lift arm, have somebody position it onto the tab, and then what you'll do is you'll take this 10 mil out, you'll pop this pin off, slide the cable inside of these two prongs, go ahead and put the pulley back, the pin back, the 10 mil back, and then go ahead and run the rest of the equalizing cable all the way up. And once you're at this point, you can go ahead and pull this cable and see that it operates. Once you know that it's good, everything's in place, wind up the equalizing cables at the top and then move on to the next one.
All right, so next step after getting your cable assembly set up is we're going to start looking at the hydraulic system. So it tells you in great detail to pay attention to how clean these things are. They were shipped to us in a clean bag container, but BendPak obviously is going to recommend that you clean these things out. So either compressed air or do a fluid flush. Just make sure that when you inspect these things that they're not dirty and you're not contaminating your lift. That will cause major problems, if not a failure, later down the road. Same thing when it comes to using the tape or any kind of sealant that you're putting on the threads. Make sure that you're only putting it in the proper areas, you're not overdoing it, and don't run the risk of clogging up your lift.
Some tips about installing this hydraulic line. I would suggest moving this lift arm as far as you can and routing it. If you see these little holders, I guess you can call them, I would route it all the way down and pinch all of those together. That way it doesn't lift up. And what you're going to do is you're going to extend this ram, and on the end of it, you'll see that you need to screw in a 90-degree fitting and then screw the 90-degree on the hose end onto that fitting. It's pretty simple. There's a hydraulic plug there from BendPak to make sure that nothing gets in the hydraulic cylinder itself. But once you get all of that tacked down, go ahead and move the lift arm down. And you're going to put the hydraulic fitting T that they put into place, that they put in with the package, excuse me. But if you decide you're going wide config or narrow config, it depends on if you're going to use this bit. If you're going wide config, then go ahead and install this length of the hose. If you're going narrow, you don't need to install it. But this side's done. On to the next. All right, guys, so after I just showed you how to do that one, this one's a lot simpler. Same process down at this bottom, but what you're gonna wanna do is slide this lift arm all the way up, get the hydraulic line routed inside of all the pins, close the pins. There's a lock slot. Slide the hose down in the slot. That way when you slide the lift arm back, it doesn't get caught up. Once you get the lift arm back, go ahead and slide the hydraulic line out of that slot and route it the rest of your way, coil it up at the end, and now we're ready to pick them up.
All right, so where we left off last, we were installing these posts on our BendPak post lift. We took some of the video to show you how to drill using a hammer drill. I'm gonna have you look at some of these instructions just for some fun. And you can clearly see that these bolts will be drilled 4 inches into the concrete, not all the way through because you can ruin the integrity of the concrete. And once done, you'll hammer those little guys in like this, in which case you will repeat that process. So we filmed one, and we're not going to bore you with all of that, so enjoy. When installing your top safety bar, make sure that you are following your instructions to ensure nobody gets hurt or injured. Using two 12-foot ladders, a shop crane, or a forklift, position the crossbar across the top and use a stationary bolt, something to get you in place. Once you're there, tighten everything up according to your instructions, following your torque specifications, and your crossbar will be safely installed. Back at it. Mounting the power unit. So we're going to take this here power unit that's over here next to the post we deemed the power side post, and we're going to follow these instructions on how to install. So first tip, the power unit is heavy. The BendPak recommends having one person hold the power unit while a second person bolts it into place. So we're going to use that safety method. 2 people, let's do it. After installing the hydraulic line to the power unit, next step is going to be lifting arm restraints. So it tells you as far as the components required, all the little pieces and parts that you're going to be utilizing, and it'll all drop together peg and hole style. It's important the arm restraint gears do not keep the lift arm from moving once the weight of the vehicle is on the lift arms. The arm restraint gears are designed to maintain the position of unloaded lift arms. So really what that's saying is when those things are locked into place and you have a vehicle on the lift, they can move. They're designed to hold them in place before you put weight on them. But after looking at the instructions, it shows the exploded breakdown. These lock arms are already bolted in place on our unit. We didn't have to install them, but it's very important to check and make sure these things are tight. So being safe, trying not to hurt anybody or anything, we're going to use 2 people to put this thing in place and drop this pin in place. Lift. Bow. And then, so what I'm doing is I'm taking these little locking tabs and clicking them into a slot on the bottom of this pin. If you don't have superhuman strength like me, use a pair of pliers. It's so much simpler with pliers. Okay, also depending on the configuration that you're going to use, there's a couple different options for stowing these risers for your lift arms. You can put this one down here. I would strongly advise when you put this one on, put it in place first before you tighten and torque down the bolts holding the studs in place. Otherwise, it comes with some hardware and these that will mount in this location. So again, you could choose risers on one side, risers on the other. If you have any questions, consult your instructions. All right, so this concludes the BendPak lift installation. I just want to remind everyone that we are not the authority on installing a BendPak lift. If it's something that you think is outside of your capability or your skill set, hire a professional. That's the easiest way to get this thing done. Lastly, we are not professional electricians. For safety's sake, we're going to hire a third-party electrician to come in and do our electrical work. For safety, again, hire somebody professional if you're not capable of doing these things. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and follow for more Driver Motorsports how-tos.